chemical changes. We know we're going to have physiological changes. But at some point, our body's going to come back into balance. We can have what I would refer to as a physiological imbalance. Now, there can be lots of reasons why that occurs, and we don't really necessarily need to define what that is today. But when we have this physiological imbalance, a trigger is not necessary. The cascade remains the same, but we might not know why we're feeling the way that we are. We might not understand why we're having the experience that we are. We might literally be fine one moment and then have overwhelming changes the next. This is something that has become prevalent with who we are and within our society. I read something one time, I think I even shared it from this stage a few years ago. I said that your brain is an incredibly complex organism, and that it has more than 100,000 different chemical reactions that occur every second. I recently saw this in something I was reading from Harvard Medical, and in it they said there is likely millions of reactions occurring in our brain at any given time. Now, because of the complexity, we know that there are cofactors. We often talk about cofactors, especially when we're talking about nutrition and other things, and we talk about all the cofactors your cells and your body needs. Well, when we talk about mental wellness, there's cofactors that we need as well, and let me go through them very quickly. One cofactor is neurotransmitters. We know that we need serotonin. If we have a lack of serotonin, we might feel very intense feelings of sadness, as an example. It could be completely overwhelming to us. As another neurotransmitter, we know that we need GABA, gamma-alburytic acid. Now, GABA is really important because GABA has the opposite effect. Sometimes we can feel incredibly anxious and overwhelmed. And GABA is subduing to the neurological system, that cascade. When it's present and when it's interacting with the receptors for GABA, we feel less overwhelmed, we feel less anxious. Now, we also, I think another great cofactor we need is referred to as alkaloids. Now, alkaloids is a broad category of chemistry. It's organic chemistry, but it encompasses a lot of different elements. For example, morphine is an alkaloid. There are poisons that are alkaloids. And so this is a very specific group of alkaloids that are supporting to the body. When we have the right alkaloids that are present, it interacts with two very critical receptors. One is PDE4. This is the receptor that's important for GABA. The other is 5-HT. This is the receptor. Remember we had 5-HT3 in the digestive system? 5-HT is what we find within the brain, and it's an interactive point for serotonin. And when we have alkaloids present, then we have value that comes from both serotonin and from GABA. And then the other thing that we need, I call this the rule of 80s. Your brain is comprised primarily of fats. It is estimated that 80% of the population is at least 80% deficient in fatty acids. We need omega-3 fatty acids. Now, those are all critical components. Now, I have a short video I want to play to you that might help you understand some of this a little bit better.
Ooh, what is stress to me? That's a very broad question.
I feel like, is this heaviness and this pressure?
My body gets warmer. I start sweating sometimes.
Stress for me is that which is not known.
At least in my life, it's when I feel overwhelmed.
When it comes to finances?
Your head's in the past and the future. Just worry.
A big stress factor for me was coming back from Vietnam.
Yes, my mom is deaf, and there is also some stress involved with being a child of a deaf parent.
Just a bit about me. I grew up like the tallest girl in my school, so that definitely set me apart, and I think for a while I was pretty insecure about it, and that brought me some stress.
I am a mom, I have 5 kids. You run into this almost scarcity issue as parents where you just literally feel like there's just not enough. There's not enough time to give them. There's not enough emotional energy and support to give them. There's not enough money to provide all the things that they need and want.
With technology in general, it feels like there's this expectation to let someone know what you're doing constantly. Otherwise, you just don't exist, right? And it feels like you have to be connected with everyone else almost 24/7.
It's definitely hard for me to use social media.
Everything is perfect. All the pictures you post, you edit them to perfection. And seeing everyone's perfect pictures that you know have been edited, but you still compare yourself to that.
It rears its ugly head in the form of headaches and back pain and, sadness, feelings of unworthiness. It's unfortunately a big part of my life.
The good word is adapt. One of the things that I've learned is you have to be adaptable.
Some things that I do to adapt, first of all, just acknowledging that it's a battle for me and recognizing when those patterns of behavior of wanting to cancel and panicking and wanting to stay in bed are coming up.
Dancing is one of the few times where I don't get in my head, so I'm really present. Anytime I can find something that helps me be present.
Nothing relieves stress better for me than just picking up, my acoustic guitar and just playing some of my favorite songs,
I love to knit when I'm stressed. I know it's kind of foolish, but it really does take your mind off of it because you have one thing to focus on.
You have to recognize, and I think that's a part of this recognition process. There are things in life, you know this, that you simply can't control. You can't. And you can stress about it all you want to, and that still doesn't give you any control.
Well, just have you hold it here for a second.
Okay.
No, go ahead, smell it.
Smell it?
But this is very pleasant.
Oh, that smells really good.
It's very calming.
It's soothing. It feels, I feel clear.
I would love to have this, going through my house in the mornings. I
kind of get it through my body of just feeling light and positive.
Well, welcome to the doTERRA family, Adaptiv. Now, in the couple of minutes I have left, let me move this quickly and let me bring some of these components together for you. Now, very much like what we saw with the turmeric capsule, this have never been done before. We've never seen a supplement like this before either. This also has never been done before. And what we did was we took some very critical elements, those cofactors. So we have gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, and we know that it is that main inhibitory neurotransmitter for when we have those feelings of anxiousness and we have overactivity within our neurological systems. So we've added that to this mix, as well as we have scallidium root. Now, scallidium root is a very unique plant, and one of the major components that we see in scallidium root, and there's a lot of research talking about the alkaloids. Now, we talked about that a little bit earlier, and these interactions specifically with PDE4 and 5-HT, so we have this sustained neurotransmitter activity that we need from both serotonin and from GABA. Now, additionally, we went to another very natural plant called the ahi flower. And with the ahi flower is where we're getting now a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. And we're giving it to you in this delivery with both the alkaloids and with the neurotransmitters that we need. Now, finally, no oil blend, no process of supplementation would be complete for us without talking about some very specific essential oils. Now, there's a large body of evidence that talks about linalool as an individual compound. And it talks about linalool in stress and all of its varieties that we've talked about today. So even some of those very intense feelings of sadness or being overwhelmed. And linalool is very effective, and we have high concentrations coming from lavender, coriander, and fennel. Now, we've also added a little bit of wild orange into the blend that we see within the supplement itself, and that rounds out and balances that perfectly for use within the supplement. Now, the other thing that we've done is that we've got to concentrate on an essential oil blend. I love this quote from Helen Keller. She said, "Smell is an important wizard that transports you across thousands of miles and all the years that you have lived. Odors, instantaneous and fleeting, cause my heart to dilate joyously or contract with remembered grief." Part of the reason we have that experience, we know, is because of the limbic system. Now, you hear people talking about and referring to the limbic system all the time, and there is a lot of components and cascades, and generally we just think of the limbic system as a balancer for mood and emotion, but it does much more. And without going into detail on this, there's two critical parts that I want to point out in the cascade that's associated with the limbic system. One is the amygdala, and the other is the hypothalamus. The supplement functions through the amygdala. That is an important feature of this product, and in the coming months, we'll explain to you more and more of what that means in great detail. But then we also have the hypothalamus, which stimulates the cascade we're all familiar with when we think about the limbic system. And one of the things that the hypothalamus is most responsive to, of course, is aroma, smell. And so we have a separate essential oil blend outside of the supplement. Now, this is meant to be used in connection with the supplement. So think about the supplement as long-term benefits, and think about the essential oil as fast-acting benefits. Now, we have lavender and neroli, sweet gum, and copaiba. And then we also have spearmint and wild orange. Now, you can see that we've pulled from several different categories: wood, flower, mint, and also citrus. And this is a perfect balance of the essential oils and the value that they will bring. So once again, think about systemic pathway. When we take the supplement, we're affecting neurological outcomes and biochemical outcomes. When we use the essential oil, we're influencing behavior, thought, and emotion. Long-lasting, fast-acting. It's the perfect combination of those things together. Now, I don't have time to tell you some of the research that we'll be doing for some time up at Salt Lake Behavioral Center. But this product is making a big difference for them. We're working with our first responders and others. And at some point, we'll give you more exposure to some of the value and some of the things that we're seeing that way. Now, in the couple of minutes that I have left, can I walk through with you very quickly an easy-to-follow, simple protocol that will help you to establish some normalcy in your mental health and mental wellness. And by normalcy, I mean our ability to react and respond to the situations that we find ourselves in. I'm in no way suggesting that if we experience these types of things, we are somehow abnormal. That is not the intention. So first is supplementation. We know that we need the Adaptiv for mental wellness. Sleep is an active part of everything that you do in a mental wellness protocol. And so use the Serenity soft gels. We've introduced those to you in the past. It's a wonderful product. Be sure you're getting good components of sleep. My friends, you have to use the Lifelong Vitality. It's foundational. It wasn't a clever product idea. It's foundational to every process in your body. And so use that as your framework for supplementation. This would be a daily use model. Now, many times people come to me and they say, Dr. Hill, that's a lot of things to take. It's more difficult to have challenges, isn't it? let's get in the habit of doing things to take care of ourselves on a daily basis. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to move. So this is your protocol for movement. Now, I don't expect all of you to take up planking. I tried that one time. In my mind, that's a sin. It's evil. It should not be allowed anywhere. However, you do have to move. We know that exercise has direct effect and benefit on mental wellness health. And so pick what it is that you would like to do. It can be as simple as going for a walk. You can ride a bike. You can do vigorous exercise if you want to, but think about some products that can support you in that process. So I have all of our Deep Boot products as an option for you, but I want you also to think about mental and physical energy. So think about Mito 2 Max. This is about cellular energy, right? This isn't about caffeine and other things. It's cellular energy, giving your cells what it needs for proper metabolism, for good, sustained energy throughout the day. And then, of course, use essential oils. You can use any you want, but I've given you my 3 favorites. Motivate. I love that oil. It's powerful. Think about wild orange and peppermint. Choose your favorite, but do things to give yourself sustained energy throughout the day. And then when we come to the essential oils, let me tell you how to use the oils of Adaptiv. We've given you both the touch and we've given you the essential oil as a whole because the touch is meant to be for topical application, to be used in the moment, anywhere, anytime. And then we have the essential oil itself that's not in the touch format. This is an excellent diffusion model. Remember, we want to expose ourselves to the essential oils. And diffusion is one of the primary and simply the best ways that we can do that. But we must do it with efficiency and we must do it with consistency. So begin using these oils. Are you excited about all the new products we have? I want to share just one thought for you in closing, if I could. On my drive to work, I passed several billboards, and they're billboards from essential oil companies. And they make a variety of different claims. Some of them say that they're just like doTERRA. Some of them say they're better than doTERRA. Some of them say we don't want to be doTERRA. It's a variety of different things that come to us and that we're in a barrage with all of the time. Don't let it bother you. I've decided it doesn't bother me. Of course they're not like us. We are different. By now, I'm hoping that each one of you have experienced what I call the purpose of doTERRA. You know that doTERRA is a place of healing in many facets. It's a place of peace. It's a place that we call home. I came across a quote from Albert Einstein the other day. Yes, I was reading the works of Albert Einstein, I know. But it was interesting to me, and I committed it to memory. I like to do that. When I find something that has meaning to me, I like to commit it to memory. And so I like to quote it for you, and it's some thought as we think about what it means in doTERRA to be together. Strange is our situation here upon earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to a divine purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing that we do know, that we are here for the sake of other men. Above all, for those upon whose smiles and well-being our own happiness depends. For the countless unknown souls whose fate we are connected to by a bond of sympathy. Many times in my daily life, I recall how both my outer and inner life is built upon the labors of people, both living and dead. earnestly. I must exert myself in order to give and return as much as I have received. And I am still receiving. My friends, we are involved in something that is bigger than us. We are involved in giving and receiving to others. It's my sincerest hope on behalf of myself, of my partners, and all of us here in doTERRA, that your experience is a rich one, that together we become remarkable. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your convention. Thank you for being with me today.